So if you don't know who Lil Nas X is a rapper. He's been controversial over the years for many reasons, one of which is the fact that he has pushed back repeatedly and criticized and mocked Christianity. This has led him to a lot of honestly success in some places, because in a lot of ways, you know, controversy sells. But this story says Lil Nas X apologizes to Christians after J Christ video backlash. So first I want to know if you had you knew who he was beforehand, right? Because you knew about the incident with the shoes.
Yeah, he put like blood in his shoes or something like that.
Yeah. So,
oh yeah, on the Nikes, that's custom ones.
So if you're wondering,
and then he's
what
like a Satan worshiper or something. He did some
No.
kind of like Satan dance or something, didn't he?
So here's a picture of like what he had. That image was made for the album cover. What it immediately made me think of, sorry, 3 there, was I still have my disc version of Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory. I do. I still have the CD for it. Remember back in the day? It's Tupac, Machiavelli. Long time ago, 90s.
I don't listen to that type of music.
I was never a Tupac fan.
Okay, well it was the album. It was an album that came out after he died.
Okay.
And the cover is essentially him depicted as Jesus on the cross.
I see it a lot. I feel like that's a common.
Yeah. So it's we got a $20 one here from Ben Tomsky. He says, before I've even heard the apology video, nope, he is not sincere. Trolls are never sorry. That is why they're trolls. P.S. Miss you, Mary. Well, she will be back on Monday. She didn't hear that, unfortunately. She didn't hear that.
You don't think she's watching?
I'm sure she's doing something with her time today. But if she's watching, then she accepts your. She says thank you for saying I miss you. I'm guessing. So let's go ahead and listen to his video here.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to not necessarily apologize, but I wanted to explain like where my head
he's not apologizing
and where it's been for like the last week. So first of all, when I did the artwork, I knew like there would be some upset people or whatnot, simply because, you know, religion is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. But I also didn't mean to like mock. This wasn't like a fuck you to you people, fuck you to the Christians. Like, you know, it was not that. It was literally me saying, oh, I'm back like Jesus. Like that was like the whole thing. I'm not the first person to dress up as Jesus. I'm not the first rapper. I'm not the first artist, and I won't be the last. And I know, like, given my history with, you know, the Call Me By Your Name video, anything that I do related to religion can be seen as like mockery. That just was not the case with this. And I will say though, with the communion video, with me eating the crackers and juice, I thought that video was going to be the video to lighten the mood, to take it down like less serious or whatnot. I thought that was something that we all wanted to do as kids or whatnot, but I didn't understand the idea of you know, the reality of what it is. You know, it's
I don't believe that he's that
like
dumb.
The symbolism of like Jesus' blood and bones or something like that. I don't remember completely, but
he's scratching his head there. He's totally lying.
I did not mean it to as like a cannibalism thing or whatever the freak.
Well,
but
that's why a lot of people left, because they thought that's what Christ was preaching.
So do you buy it? Do you buy him?
No. And to be honest with you, not only do I not buy it, but I also like it's such a bitch made edgy thing to do, because it's not edgy. Yeah. Like to me, so it's like, well, it's bitchy to apologize after you did it and lie
never apologized.
Yeah, you never apologized. But it's bitchy to apologize. It's bitchy to like be like, and then when I say bitchy, not like complaining, but like it's bitch made. Yeah. Like it's just all bitch made. Like the whole thing. It's like, man, like just own it. Like
so I haven't seen the Holy Communion video, and that seems to be like what's more controversial or blasphemous. The looking at that image and what he was saying there, I actually probably agree with him that he wasn't trying to like make a mockery of it. He doesn't realize that he's doing that. What I find more interesting is that he's putting himself in God's place, and I think that's a problem that our entire society has, where we see ourselves as our own gods, and I think that's probably more as to why he did that in the first place.
Do you think part of that is just the culture of narcissism that we live in now?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, right? I'm just saying a little bit different words there. He's like, a narcissist is someone who thinks that they're God, right? For the most part. So I definitely feel like I believe him when he's saying that. That's why he did that. He's like, I'm back. Like he's like, I'm back just like Jesus because I'm God too, and I'm back. So I agree with him when he was explaining that part. He probably is being honest there.
Do you think that like it was planned or on purpose, or do you think it was just a perfect storm that as this country has become less religious, we also have the rise of social media, which has turned more and more people into narcissistic personalities?
I think that the internet's obviously been used to massively influence people in a negative fashion. But again, like, it is a tool, and that's one of the reasons why I think that we need to be extremely disciplined on what exactly we do indeed watch and consume. Just like when we look at what we eat in our diet, right? Like, that affects what our physical body looks like. Well, what we watch and what we read, and that affects our mental and our souls.
A good amount of like, if you have a decent amount of self-reflection and you pay attention to how your body reacts to things, it can help a lot. Like for me, part of, and I think I've told this before, like part of going into recovery is you have to pay very close attention to how you react to things in the world because triggers exist. But one thing that I've always noticed is like I can now tell when the things I'm consuming on social media are putting me in a really, really bad place, and when I need to put the phone down and go get some type of physical activity, go do literally anything else but be there on the internet. And oddly enough, it ends up being more of a problem for me in my free time because like at work all day, I'm looking at this stuff, but it's working towards a goal of like making the show happen every day. And then there's something cathartic about talking about it while we're doing the show.
Sure.
So there's a release for that. But like if it's on the weekend, it's just stimuli, intake with no recourse. And I think for most people that comes in the form of Twitter, or it comes in the form of TikTok or Facebook. I don't have that outlook or that outlet on the weekends or during the weekend at any other time because I don't find, for the most part, I love doing this show and I love sharing my opinions, but like I don't like sit there and think like, well, you know what I think the internet needs my take on this issue, so I'm gonna tweet about it, right? Like I don't do that excessively, so there's no output for that. So by the time I'm done with the weekends, if I don't get away from it, I'm in a way worse mental headspace than I would be if I went out and actually did something.
Yeah, I mean, as a Catholic and a Christian, like one of the big things that we talk about is we have to find that, to get away from all the noise, right? All the noise of the world.
Yes,
and you want to retreat and find that peace and that quiet. And that's when you can hear the voice of God talking to you. The Holy Spirit can move through you, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, as a Catholic, we have adoration and things like that and retreats and things that you can do, silent retreats and things that facilitate a lot of that stuff. But I mean, obviously, sometimes can be hard. The phones are always there. They are a massive, massive amount of temptation. But at the same time, like, you do kind of might need them in some cases. So
what do you do if you find, like, does that happen to you? Do you find like the internet getting to you, or like too much time on the internet gets to you mentally?
I don't think so.
Doesn't happen to you? I'm sure like it's different for different people, right? Like I notice that it gets to me, but I imagine there's plenty of people, certainly Twitter has told me there's plenty of people that don't just like it, they thrive on the negativity of the internet.
I mean, I curate my Twitter feed pretty heavily. Like I block really fast. Like I'm a malice kind of dude.
You're using it as a tool,
really
right?
fast.
And you already have the self-discipline and self-awareness to know that, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, your Twitter experience it can be completely and totally shaped by you. So all people that complain about Twitter, they're complaining about the way that they set up their Twitter. Right. They're not complaining about Twitter. You're in complete control. You can get rid of people. You can mute words. It's not a problem at all. And so for me, I it's how I communicate and stuff mostly. Like I spend a lot of time, reading and getting stuff from, and almost all of it comes from Twitter,
Yeah.
So
also, I mean, like you go to the gym and you get away from.
Well, yeah, physical exercise too.
Is a huge part of it for me. Yeah. Is getting out, and like the worst thing that I had going on was like for about 2 months over the summer I was injured, so I couldn't skate for 2 months because I had a really bad tear in my calf. Mm-hmm. So I was not only not able to skate or get physical activity, so now I'm spending even more time on my phone than I already would be, and those were in like the prime months of the year when the weather's the best. That was freaking awful.
No, boredom is a massive temptation to lead to get yourself in bad habits.
That's why it's been funny hearing all these YouTubers talking about retiring. I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like imagine having the free time. Like I don't know. The free time leads me to bad decisions. At least in the past.
When people say they're retiring now, they're retiring from what they're doing at that point, and they're finding other things to do with their time. Yeah. They're not retiring as like I'm just sitting around doing nothing.
I haven't had a job since like 2004.
But it's why I laugh when people talk about how they're like, we talked about this yesterday a little bit, right? Like talking about where people are like they find the idea that they're going to work for however many years abhorrent. And I'm like, what would we do? Like, what would I do if I didn't have, like, having a job that keeps me busy for 8, 10, 12 hours a day is a blessing to me.
Yeah, we're made for work. Humans are made for work. I mean, that's very clear in the book of Genesis.
Yeah, like to me, not having that, when COVID first started, I like my job was no longer a thing, so I had to find a new job. And while I was looking for one, that was when I really got back into. So for 2 years, I posted a brand new skating edit every single day. So I went out and skated for 2 years straight every single day, and I was in the best physical shape I'd been in several years, and was in a better headspace because I was doing something constructive with my time. So for the first 3 months of that during early COVID, I didn't have a job at all, and I was just losing my mind because I had nothing to do while I was looking for work.
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of people have that problem because they were just sitting around and consuming Netflix and all the other streaming services, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, you look at the suicide rate now.
Yeah,
that's the clearest indicator of the repercussions of it. Is suicide is up significantly among young people, among young men specifically. Again, but yeah, it's people need a reason. You need to have a purpose. Like if you're just getting up to consume Sundays and weed and porn aren't enough.
I think it's why some people had that problem when the Dinks trend was going around, and everybody was basically saying like, so you just live to consume stuff.
Yeah, I mean the Dinks thing, like if you don't want to have kids, that's fine. Yeah. I don't have a problem with it, but I do think that we as a society should promote families, and we should promote family values. Like, again, this is coming from an agnostic dude. And I'm, very libertarian when it comes to social stuff. I've been in a band for 20 years.
I listen to some of your stuff, and Mary usually puts you in your place, I feel like.
Well, but the point being, people can live their lives how they want, but society has there's a stake in how people live their lives, society overall. So society should be promoting regular families, men, women, and normal kids, and have a bunch of kids, and we should have our government doing things that promotes that. It shouldn't be, there's no reason for the government to discourage other types of lifestyles, but there's no problem with society being like, look, we don't approve of these things, whether it be drug use, vices, gambling, whatever. Let Vegas be Vegas, but it shouldn't be everywhere, and it shouldn't be something that is on TV all the time. And I know that TV isn't the major way that people consume entertainment.
I think it is. I mean, people are watching streaming on TV, right?
Fair enough, but it shouldn't be promoted, and that's what we're doing now. We're with the whole Pride Month, and then having a day for every single identity possible, LGBTQ identity possible. That's promoting that stuff, and I don't have a problem that people have those lifestyles, and I don't have a problem with people that want to live those lifestyles, but we shouldn't promote that. We should promote things that produce a healthy society, and partying and living and indulging yourself in all of your hedonistic desires, that doesn't produce a good society.
No, I mean we see the fruits of that right now. You just look around, right, and see how society has kind of declined. I agree with you on the fact that we need to promote the good of society. Yep. I will disagree on the fact that those other lifestyles, they should be demoted.
I mean, look, I don't think that people should be, I don't think that the government should be promoting it, and I don't think that people should be punished for living a different lifestyle, right? Like if you're gay and you want to get, like if you're gay and you want to get married and have a family, I don't have a problem with that. And it's not someone else's business, but the government shouldn't be like, oh, we need to celebrate everybody that has a diverse lifestyle. There's no reason for that.
Yeah, obviously you're coming from a libertarian perspective. I used to buy into a lot of that stuff too when I was like 4 or 5 years ago. I just don't anymore because it's a dead end for me. What is it like? I mean, property rights to the end all be all. It doesn't really make any sense because then you can like just determine what is right and what is wrong, and that just there is a fundamental right and wrong. Those things you can find them through reason. You can determine them.
I feel
that's
like
why promotion. That's why the government should promote one and not promote the other. But the government shouldn't use force against people that are doing things that are quote unquote bad. And that's what laws are. Laws are just force. So if you want to say
so you're against all laws, then I mean I don't. I feel like we might be getting a little too deep here. But.
Well, I mean I'm very, very small government, so I'm against most federal laws that you can come up with. I'm against. And in generally, I think that the fewer laws, the better, because the more laws you have, the more interactions with police, the more interactions with the law, and it ends up with incentivizing people the worst people to get into government, so that way they can exercise power and all of the small tyrannies that you see. All those things come from government power. So I think the government should be as small as you can make it and still function with the way that you need.
Yeah, so I don't think it comes from government power. Government power is just it comes from human beings, right? Like the government is like an inanimate object,
yes,
right?
Fair.
So what you're really getting to is the problem that we're living in a fallen society, and people are prone to sin, and they're going to do bad things. They're greedy, like human beings. That's the consequence of original sin, is that we are kind of attracted to a lot of these negative, bad things. Why we need to have that self-discipline to understand that we're getting into a lot of these problems. So, and I think that the government can be a really powerful force for good. We've seen this throughout society. You can look at look at like Christendom at its height. A lot of the kings, monarchs had really strong, good societies. And they're promoting a lot of good things. So, I mean, St. Louis is the parish that I go to. He's probably a really good example. Strong king, led France to a very good way. So, I think you can have strong government, strong laws, and have a healthy society with that.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.